desktop. Like, he could see my desktop, and we could record.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it was pretty freaking crazy. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Low on Health game video review, where I kind of go over a game I played recently. Today I'm going to be going over Crackdown 2, in which case, with Crackdown 2, I played with two other people on my Xbox Live's friends list. So first I'm going to introduce you to them real quick. The first one's going to be Mike. Go ahead and say hi, Mike.
Hey.
Now, Mike is the Titan X, as you can see up on the screen right now. That's his avatar. He's, of course, wearing the Crackdown 2 outfit that you unlock. Also on the line here, coming in from his phone from Tampa, Florida. How's it down there in sunny Tampa, Florida, Jeff?
Oh, excellent.
Is
As
it?
always.
Is it nice? Is it what's the average weather there?
Oh, it's summer, so 90 plus. Actually,
Wow.
95 plus. But
Wow.
we've actually managed to get away with no rain for the last 2 or 3 days.
Very cool, very cool. And as you can see, Jeff also his avatar for Xbox Live also has the Crackdown outfit on there. What is that? The level 1 outfit, right?
Yeah.
And you have to buy the level 5 outfit. You don't unlock it. Is that correct?
Right, in order to get a helmet and all that stuff, too.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Crackdown 2, and I'm going to have a video kind of going on in the background here. The first thing I'm going to say about Crackdown 2 is it definitely feels like a copy and paste of the first Crackdown. Agree, disagree?
Actually,
I'm gonna agree with you on that. It's like the first one, but really diluted. They really, I think they screwed up on the story because the first one had, at least it gave you a background story for each mission that you underwent. But yeah, it's really just not as good as the first one. I don't think.
Jeff, copy and paste.
my thought about the first one was always that people really liked it and remembered it for, just the sandbox and the fun involved. But its failing was that it didn't have a very memorable or, structured storyline of, or characters really per se. The villains weren't really, there wasn't much to it. The most outstanding character in the first game was the voice of the agency, and really that's all that you have in the second game too. They didn't really expand upon that at all, and it's just as shallow story-wise as the first one was.
Well, I mean, that's actually what
if not more so, because there's less visible characters in this. There aren't the individual gang leaders or their assorted henchmen.
You really just have basically the voice of the agency and then the voice of Cell, that chick. That's it.
Right, but even her, there wasn't a lot to that at all.
Which is just funny because I think now we took for granted that we got more of a story in the first game than we did the second. Right?
Somehow they managed to get less story in there.
Which was just really weird. But I mean, it also felt like a copy and paste because it's the same city. There's a couple of walls here and there. Some things are destroyed, but it's definitely the same city. And, it definitely felt like I've been here before. Yes, no?
Right. Yeah, well, it was interesting to be kind of nostalgic, especially if you played the first one a lot and you'd be like, oh, this is I know where I am now. Oh, look, this is all messed up. There were some areas that were interesting to look at from that perspective, but it also might hamper your replay value when you've kind of been here, done this 3 years ago.
Mike, you didn't play the game when it first came out, right?
No, I didn't play when it first. Well, I played it a little bit when it first came out, but I didn't really start playing until I could buy it for $10. Okay,
so basically, so you probably had the quickest, the shortest time in between the two. So did you definitely get that deja vu type of feel?
A little bit. It was good to see, just like Jeff said, it was good to see the nostalgia of it. I like to see how everything, kind of progressed over, because I think was it 10 years between the two?
Yeah, they mentioned that it was 10 years, and for 10 years, that doesn't seem like a lot of stuff, actually, when you think about it. I don't know.
Not a lot really happened between the 10 years, except the town just got completely torn up, especially with, the cell and all the freaks and everything that happened between the two. But
it makes you wonder, why are people still living here?
Well, that's why I didn't get, did shit go down?
There's no airport. They can't leave that island, that hole. I guess you would describe it. They're just there.
That's what I mean. It felt really weird. It didn't seem to make sense. The narrative, the whole thing just didn't jive, most of the time. Now, speaking of the actual, let's say, gameplay itself, they definitely improved the melee combat. We can all agree on that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
It was more satisfying, and like I mentioned before, it almost felt kind of Arkham Asylum-ish, how you just kind of hit something and could quickly just swing back around and hit something else. It wasn't that fluid, but it felt like that.
Yeah, it wasn't that structured, but at least you could chain into other things. You didn't feel like you were just punching the air after something. Because that was the original problem with the first one, is that you would feel like the enemies were dead before you were done punching anything. They were dead on the first punch.
Well, the first one was just punch, punch, kick, punch, punch, kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would usually fly out of the frame in the first hit.
And then,
Legacy is more than just, picking up cars and throwing them. You can actually pick up, like, the lampposts and club enemies or whatever you want to club.
With melee weapons.
Yeah.
Melee weapons.
Good idea.
Now, moving on, the auto-aim, though. I will say the auto-aim, I'm going to say horrible just because I always go to the extremes, but the auto-aim...
Auto-aim?
Yeah.
It took a moment to get used to again. And if you were used to the way it was in the first game, it was that way. Where they could have improved it is integrating the auto-aim with the melee. You couldn't auto-aim something, run to it, and start punching it. I mean, yes, you could, but that's not the way it worked. You had to basically auto-aim and then let go of your auto-aim to begin punching.
But I will say this:
you couldn't Zelda like Wind Waker style lock onto an enemy and like circle around them and melee them. They should have done that. That felt like that's what you should have been able to do.
But will you definitely agree that more often than you think you should have, you would zoom in on a barrel 50 meters behind the target you were trying to shoot?
That, and also I talked about this before, and this was a problem with the first game. The idea of being able to target individual body parts of an enemy, like their arm to disarm them, or leg to slow them down, or head to like headshot them, is a cute idea in thought, but in practice, with the majority of the enemies you're fighting, especially after your guy's completely amped up on his power level, or anywhere higher up on the scale of his power level, you're going to kill those enemies faster than you could just disarm them. Just put bullets in the chest. You're wasting time trying to like aim around them. They're going to be dead in 3 bullets anyway. Why are you taking the time to and especially when you're getting your skills for kills, you don't want to be disarming people.
You want to kill them.
You want to get your experience points out of them. You want to kill them as fast as possible, not dance around them.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that, Jeff. There's just no point to the aiming system where you can aim at individual body parts. Now, if they had taken the time to include missions where you have to, let's say, capture somebody, or you have to,
or if there were more enemies that were substantially difficult or full of hit points, where you needed to weaken them in some fashion, like some sort of boss fight.
Or like
yes, you did eventually see the large freaks, but generally it was kill them.
Or like maybe, or like some type of maybe shield, like you have to shoot the shield off them that they're holding, or just something along those lines. Moving
that, or the other point is that if you're trying to aim at an individual portion of their body, your hits per second are going drastically down. So you're burning through your ammo and not hitting things by aiming at their arm. And it takes a moment to realize, I've been aiming at his arm, no wonder it's not dead. Yeah. And aiming at your chest and you're dead. I wasted 30 bullets on that guy trying to shoot his arm.
Now, also mentioning about controls, the climbing, I would say a couple of times. I mean, the climbing was solid, but not more than often, but often you would try to climb up something. It would look like a ledge you could climb, and you could not climb it.
Again, there was something from the first game. I mean, really, a lot of that climbing engine and the overall kind of painted on windows of some buildings.
Well, and that I also mentioned too.
Prevalent in this game too.
I didn't like the fact, but that's just me, as you will probably say. I didn't like the fact with those ledges where you have to jump out to get back onto them. You have to jump away and swing back around. But you equated that to skill.
Yeah, I think that's part of the difficulty curve in terms of you really you need to have the skill to be able to get up on this building because there's lots of warmth up here or whatever. They need to be able to do that. It is kind of annoying to jump up 20 stories on the building, and then you knock your head and fall down another 10 stories, and then have to do it again.
Yeah. But what's interesting, you said it's kind of carried over from the first one, and we kind of talked about another problem. The auto aim carried over from the first one. Wouldn't you think that's something they would have fixed?